is one of the most important kicks in martial arts and combat sports, the roundhouse kick. I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing it, and obviously it always depends on the person who taught you, but a lot of stuff is consensual in most fighting sports or martial arts. So you can either do it snapping, recoiling the kick, or you can do it like a bulldozer, going around more like a kickboxing Muay Thai style. But first, in my tutorials, you always get the conditioning first. What muscles must you have very well prepared in order to throw the biggest and strongest and fastest roundhouse kick of your life? Let us begin with the obvious. We got to be very, very flexible. And the most important parts to be flexible in for this specific kick are the groins, in order to open up your legs, to open up your stance, your positioning, and your hamstrings. Remember, this kick has a lot of snap into it. So if you're very rigid or if you're very tightened, it won't work as well. So my best advice to you is to go look into the video that I did earlier called How to Do the Splits. Study that video very carefully, do it 2 to 3 times a week, and you'll get there eventually. However, I'm going to give you 2 more exercises in order to get the splits that I really love. Next, we're going to work on strength. Let's start with rotation exercises. So your obliques must be very, very powerful. The more powerful your obliques are, the more hip power, the more waist turn you're gonna get into that really beautiful and strong roundhouse kick. Remember, not only do you have to work your obliques in terms of muscle development, but in terms of explosive torque. So throwing the ball against the wall and doing it by pivoting your feet will be a great exercise. Or you can use cables to get that torque as if you were a tennis player. Just by doing the intro of this video, I got a little bit of a cramp in my obliques, so I got to work them harder. And remember, if you don't feel your obliques, if you don't feel that tightening of your obliques when you're doing the kick, something is wrong. You're not using your waist and your hip properly. And keep in mind that sometimes in a sparring session, you're not really in the most perfect position or stance to throw the kick. So you gotta have fast twitch fibers really ready to go all out. So I really love plyometrics, where you stand on top of a box, you go down, and as soon as you land, you jump back up like this. Ooh, boom! 2 other muscles that you really need to work on and have them very strong to get that absorption strength or force when you're doing the kick, especially on your support leg, because the support leg, you'll find out that it's almost as important, or sometimes even more important than the kicking one. And really focusing on that absorption of the impact, here are 2 exercises that I love. Do them with a very keen focus on the eccentric portion. So you have Bulgarian split squats, lowering quite slowly and then going back up. And you have one-legged deadlifts. You can either do it with a barbell or a kettlebell, but these will really work on your supporting leg. As for the kicking leg, what's it doing? So it bends and it extends. So this is a leg extension to work on your quadriceps, your front thighs, and your knee joint as well. So if you do a lot of leg extensions, powerful ones, explosive ones, and if you do these leg extensions where you throw the machine up and you receive it, you can actually either work on the force or the power in which you throw the kick, as well as the absorption of that same leg when you actually hit the target. Now let's work on technique. So like I said in the beginning, we have the snapping or recoiling kick, mostly used in Taekwondo competitions, in sport Taekwondo. And you have the bulldozer kick, where you go all the way through, mostly used in kickboxing and Muay Thai. I'm gonna show you the technique for the snap kick first. So let's say you're gonna kick with the bottom leg and you got this combat stance. The first thing you always have to do is open up room so the other leg, so the kicking leg, will go through. So from here, I always use my heel to turn like this, and then I can go through with my knee. The next step will be different depending on the type of kick you're gonna throw. So if it's a snap kick, you're gonna raise your knee in a more vertical fashion. you can bend it a little bit to the side, but not too much. Otherwise, you're gonna lose control of the snapping itself. If you give it too much hip on the beginning, it's gonna be difficult to stop that kick into recoil. So what you should do is open up and raise it in a vertical fashion, like this. Okay, so this is my target. 1, 2, okay, like this, easy. What happens next is one of the most important things in almost all kicks, so really pay attention. After your knee, your kicking leg is raised, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pivot the foot, the bottom foot, which is very important, sometimes even more important than the kicking one. You're gonna pivot and turn your toes to the opposite direction of your target, like this. 1, 2, and pivot, like this. See, I'm gonna point my toes in the opposite direction to my target. And the more swiftly I do it, the more explosive I get, the better my kick will be. Also, don't you dare finishing this motion with your heel raised. Always put your heel on the ground. You know why? Because I really hate this. I hate this. This is a ballerina. This is not a fighter. As for the kicking leg, at the same time you finish the pivoting of the bottom foot, at the same time that you finish pointing the toes to the other direction, the leg extension, like we did before, the extension of the kicking leg will stop as well. So here, you're gonna rotate and kick at the same time. And when you finish one thing, you finish the other. So both happen, both occur at the same time. So 1, 2, 3. See? So we already got rid of some common mistakes like not pivoting, no hip power whatsoever, actually very damaging to the knee, and pivoting, and only then kicking. Not good. I mean, sometimes it's beautiful to watch when you see those exhibitions like sport karate and musical katas and stuff like that, musical forms, but you know, it has no power. So you should always open, up, and bah, like this, okay? So at the same time, you'll get a lot more hip drive. Usually in this snapping kick, you'll hit with the foot and not the tibia or the shins, as if you were doing in kickboxing or Muay Thai. Some people say this is not very good for fighting or not as good. I really like it, and I really like the drills in order to get that body control of the kicks and the technique as well. So you can get a target, for instance, head, and you can go, you know, practice with a target. And different levels. You can even use the chair sometimes in order just to practice, you know, the cleanness of the technique. But this is very good to work on overall conditioning and technique. Moving on, the bulldozer kick, where you go all the way through. So in the beginning, let's say I'm going to kick with the right leg as well. Left stance. When I open, I'm not gonna open just by rotating through the heel. I'm gonna step to my side a little bit. So if my target is over here, I'm gonna open up and my toes will point to my left side, if I'm left in front, obviously. So here, 1, and by opening, I'm starting this motion, which is gonna help me with the momentum to get the whole rotation. So now let's recap with the target. So left in front, instead of just going like this, I'm gonna go through. I'm either gonna go to my side, but since here I don't have enough distance, I can also go a little bit to the front as well, so diagonally. But let's say I'm gonna go to my side. So side, open up, sideways in order to get already that momentum going, and I'm gonna exaggerate the motion. So instead of aiming to kick here, or to extend here, I'm gonna aim to kick here, but I'm gonna aim to extend here. So what happens is, 1, open, I pivot just like I did before, I hit with my shin, and my leg will still be a little bit bent, slightly bent, as if I wanted to get away with my target and kick to the camera like this. So let's say I'm not gonna hit the target, so 1, side, and bah, as if I wanted to extend only here. But the action, the impact will be over here. So I'm gonna bring it with me. Let's see it in action. So here, 1, 2, see? See? I wanna take it home with me. But what if I fail my target? My target's moving, I fail. The rotation, since I'm exaggerating the motion, will happen very instinctively or intuitively. So here, I failed. See? I do the kick, I aim to extend my leg over here, and then the motion goes quite smoothly all the way because I've thrown my hips so much into the equation that I can't help but go all the way. If I try to stop it, it's gonna be very silly and my opponent will just do this and kill me. Or this. Head kicks, same thing. So I'm gonna go and I miss. See, it was pretty fast, this rotation. This will mess up your hair as well. Careful with that. So once you've done this a million times, I got 2 extra tips for you. First of all, then each athlete will get its own technique when they're doing either low kicks or high kicks, whatever. When they're doing the roundhouse kick, some people do the low kick going from up to down, you see, in a descending movement. It's like an axe hitting, you know? And one thing that you can do, either you go descending or not, once you absorb the impact with the bottom leg, what you can do to make it even more powerful is drive a little bit down, like you're absorbing a little bit, you know, slightly bend your knee and do a little bit of force with your heel against the ground, like this. So 1, boom, like this, okay? So lower your position a little bit, that'll even make you more powerful. That's why the one-legged deadlifts are so important, because of this position. It's actually 10 or 15% more power if you do that, I believe. And the other one is the arms. To help with the rotation, think of your left shoulder. So if you're kicking with the right leg, think of your left shoulder. The left shoulder should always be in line with the leg and not closed. If you close, you're not gonna have enough whipping motion as well. So always think of your left shoulder and try to aim it towards the back. Let's say you got somebody you don't like over here, you wanna elbow them in the head like this. So 1, 2, okay? Remember, the left shoulder will help with the torque. Whew. If you find this video helpful, click like, subscribe, share it, obviously, and follow me on Instagram. These types of kicks, these types of techniques, sometimes some basics will depend on the school, on the teacher, on the master. So this is the way I was taught, so I hope it helps you. If not, well, then at least you learned something else. So do comment, and I want to know what do you want me to share with you next. Till next time.